Eventually.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Yankster Cop. So we're going to be doing a special today for the Liverpool Burnley game. Always with my lovely host, Sophie. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited for tomorrow. Thanks.
Good. And we've got two special guests tonight to help us start kicking off the season. Got Dave. How you doing, Dave?
I'm absolutely fantastic and raring to go, baby.
Good. And least but not last, Jack. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on, and can't wait. Yeah, it's going to be, fingers crossed, it's an excellent season for the Reds.
Good. Yeah, so obviously, Liverpool kicked off last season, the last game with a good 3-0 win over Norwich. So just going to go around, how's everyone feeling? We'll start with you, Jack. How are you feeling going to this Burnley game, knowing that Burnley have gotten points off the last two times you played them at Anfield?
Yeah, it's the Sean Dyche effect in it. Liverpool against a low block last season didn't really fare too well, but we had quite a couple of injuries that were quite obviously prevalent throughout the squad. Van Dijk, Gomez, Matip. Fingers crossed he can stay fit a bit longer this year, but fully confident if Liverpool can play the game and the positive football in which we did play against Norwich. It's going to be a completely different philosophy from both. Obviously, Dyche and obviously Daniel Farke of Norwich, but I'm excited. It's an early kickoff, and I'm hoping everyone gets in the ground good and early, and I know everyone will, because it's amazing, which we'll discuss it tonight anyway, the positive Anfield atmosphere. Can't wait.
How about you, Dave? How are you feeling going to this game?
I'd love to be there. Positive, very positive. I did a few podcasts midweek. I said we'll win about 3-0, to be fair. We turn up, we'll beat them. There's no doubt about it. They have a good record against us at Anfield. They have a really good record. Out of most of the lower level teams, they've probably the best record against us at Anfield. That low block, the packed defence, it just doesn't suit us the way they play. They don't counter you, so they don't leave much space in behind, which we like. That's what Norwich do, so that's why Norwich particularly don't like Liverpool. Liverpool like Norwich. So it's going to be, listen, we play our game tomorrow. We picked the right team. We've got the Anfield crowd back. The Anfield crowd is huge. It's worth maybe 10, 15 points a season. So tomorrow, all going well, we should turn up, and we just want a performance and a good professional performance and a win tomorrow. I'm confident that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, what about you, Sophie?
I'm just buzzing. I can't wait, to be honest. I've just been on Doug's before, and we were talking about like the Burnley effect and the Burnley game and that, and I was like, you know what? Normally an early kickoff game against Burnley, I'd be going, oh, well, here we go again. But I just think it's going to be booming tomorrow. It's first fans back at Anfield, full capacity. It's going to be incredible. Well, I hope it will be incredible anyway. But I don't know really what to expect from tomorrow. I don't know whether it's going to be same old Burnley behind the ball and we're going to be unable to break them down, or are we going to like really feel the boost of the fans in the stadium and perform brilliantly? Like, we played well at Norwich, but we didn't get really out of second gear. So I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it either way. Like, what about you?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. I think, Liverpool have a decent record at early kickoffs as well. So I think with a crowd behind us, we should come out of this game flying. And I think, when they beat us last year, the fans not being there and we were in a bad run, and that kind of like all counted against us. So I feel good. I mean, just wanted to say here, he's on the chat here. Good to see Alan and good to see Stephen. So in that Norwich game, when I last show, we spoke about how it felt as if we were at home against Norwich because of how powerful the crowd was. Even when they were singing like the Bobby Firmino song, like how that's all you heard around the stadium, and we've seen obviously the impact of Liverpool are one of the teams where obviously we need the fans behind us. We'll start with you, Dave. Like, how important and much of a difference is the fans there for us in terms of helping Liverpool go up the extra level in terms of getting a win over the line compared to how we were last season, where there were times where you could see that without some of our players are performers, they like the fans behind them. So how good is it to know that it's going to have a full crowd Anfield tomorrow, and how much difference that can make?
Oh, it's huge. We all know the Anfield roar, the Anfield effect. Everybody knows it. Like it's famous. It's world famous. There's not many grounds like Anfield on a packed out Anfield. It doesn't matter if it's 12:30 or 11 o'clock in the morning or whatever time it is. It's huge for the fans. It's huge for the players. Klopp loves. I heard Klopp talking about it today. He can't wait to get back to a packed Anfield. As you know, guys, you were only there last week or what the game you were at. The atmosphere around Anfield before you walk into the ground, an hour or 2 hours before, maybe even 3 hours before the kickoff is unbelievable. In around the pubs, in around the bars and the cafes and stuff before you even walk into the pitch. Like I'd go over from Dublin to Liverpool, no problem, even if I hadn't got a ticket, just for the atmosphere outside the ground. And then the atmosphere after the match, it's just unbelievable. It's different to most grounds. So I think tomorrow, with full crowd at Anfield, I just can't see anything other than helping Liverpool. I really can't. We missed it last season. Of course, with COVID and stuff like that, we can't do anything about it. But I really do think it's 10 to 15 points a season for Liverpool, with or without a crowd. There's a huge difference. It's absolutely huge. And I think and hope we'll make it work tomorrow with a packed crowd, because it'll be emotional. For the first time in a long time. I know there's been friendlies there and stuff, but that's not the same. This is 3 points. This is a big game. It's a league game. So we got to use the crowd. We got to use the crowd. I'm sure Klopp will be doing his roiling up. Klopp will be loving it up into the Kop. So I'm confident tomorrow, really confident of a Liverpool win. I think the Anfield crowd will help us.
Yeah. How do you feel about Jack, like, from your point of view of the power of the Anfield crowd going into tomorrow?
Yeah, it's going to be massive, innit? It's 68 game unbeaten run that they beat. Well, they stopped last year, didn't they, Burnley anyway? Yeah. But I'm hoping this can be the start of our 100-odd run in the coming years' time. It's your runs, and obviously the back end of last year we finished it very well. Obviously helped us get third in the league anyway. But I'm positive, mate, and I think a nice early goal will very much settle the nerves, considering obviously Burnley, the way in which they will approach the game. But if we can get an early goal, get the crowd on side as well, obviously they will be on side, but the quickness and the intensity will be key come Saturday morning anyway. But yeah, the crowds and Bob, just watching Bobby coming off the bench last week, he thrives off the atmosphere, doesn't he? And as you alluded to there, Wayne, the intensity of Bobby, like that song will be getting belted round Anfield and the Salah, and I think it'll probably be one of the very rare occasions that Jota's going to be playing in front of a full crowd. Even when he was scoring last year, it was weird. He didn't really celebrate, but now if he gets a goal, Kop end, then he'll go absolutely berserk. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Before we move on, I just want to mention, obviously, we've seen the news about Fabinho today. Sadly, lost his dad. I know we've all shared our condolences on social media and that for him, but just as a channel, we just like to send all our love to Fabinho and his family. It's a very difficult time for him. We saw the same thing happen with Alisson, sadly, with losing his dad and with Klopp losing his mum. And we just wish him all the best, and we can't wait to see him back when he's ready.
Yep.
Yeah, fully agree with that. Yeah, I think the Anfield crowd is going to make a massive difference tomorrow. I think that's going to be crucial for us. Just reading some of the chats here. Finn says, no fear going out against Burnley. They might frustrate us, but we should get the job done with a returning midfield contingent. He's talking about front three of Jota, Bobby, and Mo would be too much agility and mobility for the centre backs to handle. I don't know about dropping Mane. I think Mane's got a good record against Burnley. Tony.
I just want to go quick off Finn's comment here. No fear about going out Burnley. Frustrated getting the job done with our return in midfield. I think our midfield's still not going to be a normal midfield we're used to. I think we're still going to have a little bit of a higgledy-piggledy one. Obviously, with Fabinho, he's not going to be out. He's been given compassionate leave. He's not going to be playing. So then you've got, obviously, like Keita, Milner, maybe Hendo, maybe Thiago. I think it's still going to be... I think, if anything, Burnley are really going to target our midfield tomorrow. They're going to try and control the game in the midfield and play it through there, because we know they're going to put the two banks of forward up. It's what Burnley do. But I think they're going to try and win that ball back off set pieces or in that midfield, and we've got to have a very tight midfield who are on top of the game tomorrow, because otherwise it's not going to be an easy job. That it is going to be frustrating, and it might lead to us conceding if we don't maintain that midfield.
Yeah, Tony Madden says going to be emotional with the fans in the Andrew Devine tribute and painful for Fabinho. Yeah, and good to see you, Doug. So going into like Burnley, so last year when they beat us 1-0, that was a very frustrating defeat, you know, and I don't think we played well that game. And the year before that, they got a draw against us. So does that?
You don't look very confident, do you? For God's sake, come on.
I'm just telling you, like, come on. Here. Does that concern you? The fact that they got? Because I think when they drew with us the year before, Van Dijk wasn't there. So does that concern you? The fact they got a draw.
No.
Going to this game tomorrow.
No.
Nothing concerns me.
But like, look at this. Look at it this way. Last season was a fluke of a season. It wasn't a normal season in any aspect. And I'm sure the lads, you know, will agree in the same that wasn't the norm for us. Those results weren't the norm for us. There were teams that we would normally have beaten in our sleep that we were just rattled. Yeah. We lost so many key influential players that we were just rattled, and we didn't really know. Our heads were up our arse. We didn't know what to do. I'm not worried about that because we lost our, you know, unbeaten home streak last season, which was understandable. We had no fans. We had an injury list as long as the eye could see. And I just think with fans back, with the returning players, and I said this before, people are all writing Liverpool off all of a sudden saying that the starting 11 aren't great, but they're not going to be title worthy and all that. But this is the same squad with added extras, apart from losing Genie. We've added 2 players to it, and 3 players to it, sorry. And you're saying all of a sudden that they're not good enough to challenge or to do anything. So in my mind, if we're going to be sitting here as fans saying for this season, we're going to be challenging for the title, we're going to be challenging for Champions League, yada, 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 why the hell should we be scared of Burnley? I know a draw from last season. There were bigger games. We lost bigger amounts last year. There were bigger games where you just kind of went, what the hell happened there? The 7-2, for example. But we're not frightened about going up against teams like that again. But for some reason with Burnley, everyone goes, oh, you're scared about Burnley? No, I'm not scared about Burnley. Burnley frustrate me. You don't scare me.
Yeah. They're not a lovely team to watch. That's the only thing I don't like about Burnley. They're not great to watch, and Sean Dyche is a great manager. But other than that, I mean, like, it's, you know, I don't care about Burnley. I mean, it's what Liverpool do, I think, on the day. It's what team Liverpool, it's what mood Liverpool are in. It's what way they approach the game. I mean, that's for me, for Liverpool, by far the better team, you know, and I think that's for the whole season for Liverpool. I think it's what way Liverpool approach the games, what team we pick, how confident we are going into the games. And I know Klopp looks ultra confident at the moment, even with no players coming in. And I don't think there probably will be now. Maybe one next week, we'll see. But I'd be happy with what we got. Once we can keep injuries away from the door, once we can keep those bloody injuries away from the door, I think we'll be okay. Even I know what Homie doesn't like to know. I know he likes bringing in players, and he's in dreamland there, like Riola. He's like Riola there. But I mean, like, for me, the squad we've got right now, Robbo was back in full training today. I don't know whether you've seen that. He's ready. He'd be ready for Chelsea next week. The squad is, as you just said, Sophie, the squad is the same squad. Like a record amount of points for Liverpool. Won the Champions League, won the Super Cup, won the Club World Cup, got into the final of the Champions League. It's pretty much the same squad, and we've added to it with Thiago, Taki, and Jota. And
it's the same squad. That's,
you know, I'm not saying I wouldn't want the player in. Of course, we want as many players we want, but Klopp likes a nice tight knit team and a group. And sometimes, if you bring a player in late in the group now, if he brings in a player now, sometimes can disrupt it. Sometimes can actually work against you. So I'd be happy with what we got going forward. I'm confident.
Yeah. It's the mentality in it, so and everyone as well, like mentality. And I just love the fact all the journos and the press and pundits outside of Liverpool is camp. They're writing us off. It's like our form, yes, it dipped last year, but they're forgetting like the 2-3 positive years we had prior to that. Yes, the players might be getting 1 or 2, 3 years older, but their form won't deteriorate that drastically over the season.
Yeah.
And I think, as we mentioned over the last couple of weeks, Van Dijk, if he can get back up to full fitness, Joel Matip, if Joel Matip's fully fit, what a centre back. And obviously Joe Gomez, if we can be injury free, Canate, it's like all these like pundits are like just writing us off. Fair play, you do that, and I tell you, if Jurgen Klopp spearheads us to a title challenge and wins the Premier League, then they'll be crawling back into deleting all the posts like a lot of Premier League teams did last year. So, just let them do that.
The thing for me with the like pundits writing us off is let them, like Jack, you just said, like let them write us off. You know, an underrated Liverpool is the best type of Liverpool because it's like a dog with a bone. We've got a point to prove. We're used to being the underdog. We're used to being, don't you wind Albion? Like, we're used to being the ones who have to fight for everything, aren't we? Like, fight tooth and nail to prove that we are who we are. And for me, what annoys me, the only thing that really annoys me is nobody's mentioning City from last season. Nobody's mentioning how little points City won the league with. That, 2 or 3 seasons ago probably would have just maybe scraped them top 4. When you've got City breaking 100 points, when you've got us getting, 96, 97, 99, like high points. And no one's questioning City saying they were poor champions last year because they got small amount of points. They're going, oh, City won. Oh, United did fantastic. But we ended up 5 points behind United.
With no centre-backs.
Yeah. We beat them 4-2 in their own back garden. With their team they'd rested. And we still beat them. And it's like, don't let them write us off. Like, let them do that. But I just wanted to, before we go back on to, like, just take it back onto the Burnley game a little bit. We obviously know, like, the analogy that gets thrown around for Sean Dyche and Burnley is, they're anti-football type thing. And we had a conversation about it before about whether we need that type of club in the Premier League. And I guess I just wanted your guys' opinion on it because I know what I think about whether we need a team like Burnley in the Premier League. And I just want to know, like, do you think that the Premier League would be good without it? Or do you think we need those low block teams?
I think it takes all types. I don't think Burnley are an anti-football. I think they're an uncle football team. It takes all types. You need all types of different. Not everybody can play the same types of football as the top teams. Norwich are the bottom team. They play nice football. There's some lower level teams. But when you come up against the top teams and they play football, you get ripped to shreds usually. So the reason Burnley are staying in the league, and it's good for their fans and good for their owners, is because they're so hard to beat. They make it hard to beat. And sometimes that's what you got to do. They don't have the money. They can't spend on players. They don't have a huge ground. They're limited. So they have to use limited tactics. Otherwise, they're going down. Yeah. If they start opening expansive football, they're going down. There's absolutely no guard. They'd be gone. And for them, survival is like, that's what they want every season. Finish just above the relegation zone. It's like winning the bloody league to them because it's more money. They're in the league again, playing all the top teams. I think Burnley, though, to be honest, they got beaten by Brighton last week 2-1. Now they were unlucky. It could have been either way. Brighton just took the chances. Yeah. But I think Burnley it's going to be a tough season for Burnley. It is every year. But I just think, every year can't just work out for them. You know what I mean? Negative tactics. But I think it's going to be a tough year for Burnley. Hopefully starting tomorrow.
Hopefully. Jack, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm a football purist. I'd love Liverpool. Everyone to play the way Liverpool and City do, really. But it's Simeone. Is when they rocked up to Anfield. It gets results. If it gets results, sounds. But it's just not nice to watch it. We watched Roy Hodgson for 6 months play absolutely shocking football at Anfield, and he got chased out of Anfield from the whole fan base. It's not nice. And obviously, when you're certain clubs, you have this ethos and philosophy of way and playing football. But as Dave alluded to, the transfer budget, not everyone has got what Liverpool and City and Chelsea have got to spend. But
Liverpool, City and Chelsea have got.
Yeah. Well, Chelsea and City then. Yeah. I knew you'd jump on that, Dave. Yeah, but a lot of money. But you look at Brighton, they've not got a big budget, but they play nice football. But
Yeah.
it's dependent, and obviously, certain managers come into the Premier League and really very much flopped. And be interesting to see if obviously Crystal Palace, when we do play them, and Patrick Vieira, where they go. But yeah, I'm a football purist. I'd love everyone to play good, positive football.
Different. Go on, Wahey, what side are you on? Football purist, or we all need?
I don't like rugby football team. They like Bolton when they played with Sam Allardyce. They played rugby football.
Yeah.
Don't like it. So for me, I'd love for Burnley to go down this year because I don't enjoy watching them. It's just Route 1 football, long balls. It's anti-football to me. So I'm not a fan of it. So for me, I don't think the Premiership would be that bad without them. So
made up Sam Allardyce went as well last year, miss. He's out with the Premier League. Saying that he'll always get a job in football. Well,
see, what they're doing is, I know I'm a lot older than, probably the same age as the three years combined. But the thing about it is, Wimbledon in '88, when you beat Liverpool, the great Liverpool teams in the '80s that I used to watch as a kid, that were like the best, probably best ever teams. Wimbledon beat us in the FA Cup final. We're going for the double, and they beat us. So, like, they didn't play good football. They were terrible to watch, and a lot of the teams are taking the template from them, brought it into the 90s. The likes of Bolton, as you just said, Wahami, and just you've got to do with what you've got. You've got to do and survive. It's like survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
You're not going to come up against teams, and most teams do play football in the Premier League, to be fair. A lot of them do. Maybe 3/4 of them actually do play football and try to play football. But if you play football, it's more up in the air of getting results. Where if you play your game plan like Burnley and you're hard to beat and you're low block, you'll stay up, which is what they've done. It mightn't last forever because it's a bit of quality. You have the quality as well on the pitch. And I think Burnley don't have a huge amount of quality, let's be fair. And the likes of Brighton beating them last week, that's their 6-pointer there straight away. And it was away. Burnley were home, I think, last week, weren't they? Burnley were home.
Yeah, but at home, yeah. They lost
That's a bad loss against a team that you could be up against coming into the last 10 games of the season to try stay up, and they're beating you at home. That's probably worse for Burnley than getting hammered tomorrow at Anfield.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For me, I just think I don't like the way Burnley play football. I agree with Jack and Wahami. It is really tedious watching it. And in an ideal world, everyone would play the same type of football, proper football, and it'd all be great. But I think if that was to happen, you'd end up with a Farmers League. You'd end up with teams running away with it every single time, and teams would go down more than they'd come up, and then anyone would come up, and they'd never have a chance. And the whole point of football is, I know the Premier League is pretty much set where the top 6 teams will always pretty much take the same 10 teams. Really, will take the 10 places, won't they? Places might change around, but they'll always be the same ones. But without those low block teams, those bigger teams like us and City and Chelsea and United and Tottenham and all like that, they'd run away with it every single time. There would never be a title challenge. There would never be any difficult games. And for me, what makes football as enjoyable is those difficult games. Because although I hate the way Burnley play football, I hate it so much. Like, I want to put an explosion under the bus to make them move. Like, I can't bear them. But there's nothing more satisfying than when you beat them. And you beat them at their own game. And they've put every low block out possible. They've stood up against every attack you've done. And you've still managed to chip at it and get a win. There's nothing more satisfying than that. And that's why I think the Premier League wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be as enjoyable getting those tough wins for me. Because we know we struggle against those low blocks. So when we win them, I'm like, I'm not getting happy days.
Yeah. Just going to read some of the comments here. Finn says people sleep with the midfield depth of Curtis Jones and halves. They'll be big in their fringe Premier League games. Tony Madden says we shouldn't fear any team. We play our games as we know we can, then we can take anyone. No offense to Burnley, but it shouldn't be a second thought to us. Everyone, also do smash the like and subscribe button if you haven't done already. Because obviously we're going to be playing a Burnley, this game's going to suit Matip and Van Dijk. This is going to be the kind of game like, they're going to eat all day. Long balls in the box, physical, two figures, strikers up top, long throw-ins. So, so realistically, from a defensive point of view, this should be a game where we are comfortable dealing with those kind of balls all day. Like, is that the kind of feeling that you have, Jack, going to this game? That that Matip and Dijk should be eating up everything that Burnley have to offer?
Yeah, I think all week throughout the training sessions, I think that will be the paramount. Anyway, Liverpool, when we won the league, we were probably up there in relation to goals scored from set pieces, and defensively we were switched on in aerial combatants, really. But Konate, it'd be interesting to see how he's implemented this season. But Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes, two very physical players, obviously, like we've seen in recent times when we've come up against them. It's not going to be easy. And Sean Dyche, he never makes it easy. So I'm intrigued to see how both strikers for Burnley, whether they play the one anyway, Matheus Vidra, he likes to drop off the front. So it's interesting. And always, as Sophie's alluded to, it's interesting that different philosophies when they come up against each other. But I think if we should Virgil van Dijk and Matip. I think if you asked them personally, what would they rather? A more Burnley striker coming up, backing into them, or more or less an Aguero when he's fully fit, a Suarez type player getting behind, or a Bobby Firmino. I think they'd very much they'd much rather play against an Ashley Barnes and a Chris Wood, really, as well. So, yeah.
You're going with you, Dave. How are you seeing, obviously, the Matip and Dijk against Burnley? And also, I think Tsimikas has played very well, but there has been times when he's been switched off defensively. So I think Burnley will target down that left-hand side because of Tsimikas. Not because he's not good defensively, just because he's still...
Well, he's fresh. He's fresh in the position.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a Greek international. He actually played very well for about 65 minutes against Norwich. I just said he made one or two mistakes, but all our eyes were on him, looking to see if he'd make a mistake. Let's be real, because when you see a new player, you're nearly waiting for the mistake, aren't you? Yeah, and if it is a mistake, it's highlighted everywhere. There's a little mistake. I've seen Robbo make one or two mistakes, but it's not highlighted because we know how good Robbo is. Robbo's back in full training today, by the way, and should be okay for Chelsea, which is good news. Not good news for Tsimikas. But you know what I mean? It's nice to have options. For me, we didn't have the bloody options last year or the year before for Robbo. Robbo got injured. We were bunched. Now we have some sort of an option there. And with VVD and Matip, I think I know we signed Konate for 36, 37 million. He's young. He's raw. Gomez as well, young and raw. But I think VVD and Matip is the best partnership by far. It's just they suit each other. I mean, they absolutely suit each other. And you're talking about would they eat up all the long balls? It'd be like a buffet. You know those eat for all buffets. You walk in, you pay a tenner, you can eat anything you want. That's what it'd be like for me tomorrow. Those two boys would be at a eat all buffet, and all the balls coming in and be just eaten up. Should be, because about what's Van Dijk, 6'4"?
6'4", 6'5".
You don't see Matip make many mistakes. You just don't see him making those mistakes. He's got the experience. He was Cameroon international, of course, and he gave up early. He gave up early international football to concentrate on Liverpool, and I think that was a big key for Matip. But the problem with Matip is injuries, of course. I'm just hoping and dreaming Matip can stay fit with VVD. If Matip and VVD can stay fit for a majority of the season, I think it's going to be an unbelievable. I just did a video earlier with my friend Keith talking about Liverpool's defence to be so tight with Alisson in goal. When we get Robbo back, whatever, with Trent there, Trent looks big. He's filled out. For me, 2 goals. If the boys up front are scoring goals, we'll only need mostly 2 goals to win games. We won't let in many goals. If we let in 1, we just need 2 to win games. You know what I'm saying? Because we're so tight at the back. So for me, DVD Matip is huge going forward. Tsimikas is a bonus to have. Obviously, we want Robbo back. But I think defensively, really good, and great to have Gomez and Konate in the bench. It's all about options.
Yeah. I just want to go back on to Wahami's point about Tsimikas. I can never say his name. I always want to say Tsimikas, but I know it's
Tsimikas.
Costas.
I'm going to call him Costas.
Yeah.
Sounds like a coffee.
By the way, Jack, we're getting that made on t-shirts. We're
Oh,
going to get
wow.
that.
Dan is in the house.
Friday focus, when you're out, you're out.
Danny boy.
Just to go back onto Costa's thing, like, I think that Henry's right in saying that Burnley are probably going to target down that left flank because he's the fresh blood. He's not been bled into the team really, has he? However, more fool them for trying to go down that left side when you've got Virgil van Dijk sat right next to him.
And even James Milner as well. Like, he gave him a good old tap in the face. It was good to wake him up.
More fool them if they want to go down that left side. Because if they want to go down that left side and it's hard to get it, then you're freeing up that right side. So Virgil will run over, and Milner, if Milner's playing, which I imagine, or Hendo, and they will be there to support Costas. Then, when they retrieve the ball, Virgil or Matip's long ball to Trent, who's already bombed it up the wing, who's now crossing it into Salah or Jota or Bobby, and boom. So more feel you let them target that left side because we will just pick up on what they do. And if they want to go down the left, we'll go up the right. Because all their efforts and all their forces will be so heavily drifted to the left side of the pitch that they're just going to leave themselves holes open. And the speed of our players, especially Mo, like I think Mo is a lot quicker. From what I've seen in pre-season and seen in the pre-season match, he seems, the first game against Norwich, he seems quicker than he has done previously, like last season. He seems to have got that spark back. Same with Mane, seems to be legging it a lot quicker. The rest has done him well. He's had 4 weeks rest. And I think if you're going to target down that left side, it's going to take them a lot of time to get their back four, especially if we've got Jota playing, who he lays back further. He doesn't track back as defensively. That's fine by me. That's a way for us to get through that low block.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let them target that left-hand side at their own peril. I saw it was reported this week. Like I think a lot of people did a lot of stats analysis of like I think it was like the look at Van Dijk's passing and how crucial Van Dijk's passing. Like even when his passes don't come off, how much space it still creates in terms of like people trying to stop the passes. Even at set pieces, I think like they showed again like when he won the ball and Salah scored, like how I think there was like 3 or 4 Burnley players around him trying to stop him. Norwich players, and allowed Salah so much space to score. Like, how crucial again do you feel that, especially against a low block, that Van Dijk's long range passing can make a massive difference in terms of helping us overcome these low blocks, helping us.
Well, you know what it is with Van Dijk? It's a get out clause. I mean, Van Dijk, as you said, it's literally one end of the pitch to the other end, and it's right to your foot as well. It's a proper pass, it's back to front. You bypass the whole midfield. As I said earlier, I'm with Keith earlier, and we were talking about the midfield. No matter what Liverpool 3 they pick, they weren't as involved. The Liverpool's job in midfield, the real job for the Liverpool midfield, I think this is what Klopp makes them do, is harass, harry, win the ball back, and try create. Just give it to the boys up front, the 3 amigos up front. Give it to them, see what they can do with it. Or out wide to Trent or Robbo, or Tsimikas, whoever's out wide, to get the balls in. Their job in the middle is just to do that. Win the ball, press, harry. Don't give anybody seconds or minutes on that. Plus to protect the back four as well. But it's not as much as to go forward. It's just get rid of the ball. Let the boys go forward on the wings or up front. And that's their job. So Van Dijk is an extra option. He can just ping the ball. Is really like golf, really, isn't it? Pinging it to the flag. He pings it to the flag, the corner flag, whatever you want to call it. And usually either to Robbo or to Trent if Trent's playing or Tsimikas is playing. And it's usually like a 50, 60-yard ball. It's right to the foot. We missed that last season. We missed Van Dijk last season, full stop, just for everything. For his leadership qualities, for his size, his just presence on the pitch, everything we missed. But we also missed that passing, that back-to-front passing where you just bypass the whole midfield. You don't always have to go through the midfield. It's slower. Bang, up to the front player or just right up to the top of the pitch and he's through. Jota's got the Lotta. 1-0. You know what I mean? So for me, Van Dijk is just key. And, we got to keep this boy. We missed him last season. We all know that. Keep him fit. Keep Van Dijk fit, and we've got a chance. We've got a chance in every game we play. To be fair, if he's on the pitch, wow.
We saw it last season, didn't we? Obviously, when we lost Virgil and Matip, we lost those long balls, and we relied heavily on our fullbacks to make those attempts. Yeah. And that's not what their role is. So we were spamming crosses in, whereas normally, as Dave just said, we'd be pinging it up to them on the corner flag, and then the cross wouldn't be as wide. It would be a more tighter cross into the box rather than trying to cross it from midfield into the box. And last season, I don't know about what you felt, Jack, but I felt like Liverpool tried really hard to walk the ball into the goal, and it was painful at times. Like it reminded me of the way Everton play, where they just spam crosses in and hope for the best.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean. Like we didn't play like Everton, but it was very much spam a crossing, and I felt like it was very tedious walking the ball in. But like Dave just said, I think having Virgil and Matip and all that back, it lets our fullbacks have that more freedom. And what do you think? Do you think it's going to have a massive impact like that, or?
Yeah, definitely. That's an extra dimension to Liverpool's game, and I think Liverpool last year we weren't as positive progression-wise, especially down the wings, obviously down the left and right. Liverpool were missing, and that when you look at Liverpool, the Van Dijk pass to Sadio Mane in the Champions League in the Allianz to get that first goal, and he just loops it and literally pings it over the back of the Bayern back line, and that's exactly what Liverpool need, and it allows you to put Fabinho back into his holding role. And obviously we're talking about Van Dijk and Matip, their passing quality, but Fabinho as well. But yeah, it settles Liverpool in an attacking sense going forward. I think we'll see this year. That's what I think most people outside Liverpool aren't really anticipating us to do. I think, as you've already mentioned already, and everyone in chat, if Liverpool can shut up shop defensively this year, it's just about getting those 1 or 2, 3 goals within a game, and then just sitting back and just soaking up pressure. But yeah, it's a massive tool in Liverpool's armour. The ability to just, especially going from Trent down the right, and then obviously Robbo down the left. But most importantly, that's one of Van Dijk's biggest attributes. It's ridiculous. Even Kanate's got that as well in his locker. Yeah. So I'm very excited to see this year. I'm hoping Van Dijk can do a pass of the season, and I'm fully expecting him just this 1 week just light up a team through the middle of the pitch.
You know what? I can't wait for Virgil's first goal though. Like, really can't wait for that to come off his head and go bang. I hope he gets it tomorrow. I hope
that's exactly
on their corners and their set pieces and their free kicks. I can't wait for us to get a corner and Trent to just bang it across, or Costas to bing it. Costas has got very, very good corners from that left. I actually think his corners from the left are better than Robbo's. They know exactly where they go. They were very unfortunate not to get on the back of Virgil and Matip on those corners against Norwich. His corners were very, very crisp and clear. I did like them. But I was just going to pull up Doug's comments as well then. We never created enough versus Burnley last season, and obviously we saw that with the loss, they ended our home record. But yeah, I think the reason, as the panel's just covered really quite well, and Wahomey, I'm sure you'll agree, the reason we never created enough against Burnley was because we were trying to walk the ball into the net. We didn't have those long balls. We didn't have the freedom. Or, as Jack said, we've shut up shop defensively now this season. Last season, our defence was very linked arms, trying to hold it together and brace yourselves rather than standing strong. We've all seen the memes and the gifs, haven't we, of attackers coming up against the Liverpool's defence, and he opens the door and there's another door and another door and another door and another door. Last season, it was they opened the door and it was a jail cell, and you could get your hand through it. And all you took is your hand to get through a certain few times, and eventually it would bend, and that's what it was. But I think, like Doug just said there, the reason we didn't create was because we didn't have our full strength team, and very happy to see what the boys produce tomorrow, to be fair.
Yeah. So that's a good point. So going off that, what's the approach tomorrow? Is it come out all flying, all blocks, and get early goal? Or is it wait until the 30-minute mark to see what Burnley are offering and try and get a goal, Jack?
Yeah, for me, just get at them. I think when I was speaking to Dan from a Burnley fan yesterday, he was saying Burnley, when teams get at them, they're not a technically gifted side, are they? They're not like a Pep Guardiola or Liverpool's players or Thiago's that step to the left, step to the right and get away from them. But I think the constant pressure needs to be there. Getting the crowd the intensity will go up a level or even 10, really. I think you'll see a marked massive improvements from the fans. But as soon as, even if one player, if Jimmy Milner just barges Westwood into the stands and within the first 30 seconds of the game, that will get the crowd up. And I'm hoping it's a high-scoring game because it'll be great and just get at them. The old classic Liverpool in the recent years, not last year, but the year before, that's what we've done best. Get a nice early goal and just get in the faces. Be annoying. Be absolutely annoying. And possibly if Bobby's playing, I think that's where you just obviously press from the front and make them make mistakes. And then I'd say not even sit back, just keep on getting more goals.
Yeah.
What about you, Dave?
Well, I hope we're all being annoying, because if we all get annoying, that means we won the game very well. But the other thing about it is, for me, I think it's important. I think our midfield tomorrow is huge. Fabinho, obviously the news of Fabinho's dad passing away, sad news with Fabinho's dad. It looks like he's going to be out for tomorrow, probably out the whole squad. You never know. He might want to play. His dad might have said to him he wants him to play. You wouldn't know. If that happens, play. But his mind wouldn't be right. His head wouldn't be right. We've seen it with players. It just doesn't seem to work. So I have a feeling Thiago could start tomorrow. I know Hendo's close, but I think Hendo's another week away. I think he'd be more eyes on Chelsea next week. Maybe come on last 20 against Burnley tomorrow and more eyes on Chelsea next week. So I think Thiago, Milner, maybe Keita. I think tomorrow is huge for us. I just think it's the team. As I said earlier at the start of it, it's whatever team we pick tomorrow is the most important thing tomorrow for us, and what way we approach the game. I'd be 100 miles an hour, I'd say, because of the crowd. The crowd. I mean, you were watching the games during COVID. It was like watching a five-a-side. You could hear the fellas coursing. You know what I mean? You could hear fellas getting stuff out of a machine on the side of the wall. I mean, it was like watching a game on a Sunday and the kids. You know what I mean? You hear the parents shouting at them down the pitch. It wasn't right. It wasn't Anfield for me. It just wasn't Anfield. I was talking to James Pearce a few times, and he said because he went to all the games, it just wasn't right, he said. It just didn't seem right. Up in the gantry, looking down on the pitch, just not right. So tomorrow it's going to be rocking. I just hope you get the ticketing system thing right, and there's no problems going in, because it is an early kickoff, and they can get everybody in on time for kickoff and start delayed by half an hour or an hour. You know, that type of thing, which will take the shine off it. I'm really confident tomorrow. Really confident. And I think the Burnley hoodoo will disappear tomorrow.
I think for me, the way we're going to set up tomorrow really, like Dave said, depends on the team we pick. I think that when we see the lineup, we'll know kind of what style of football Klopp's going to play. Is he going to be very attacking? Is he going to be a holding game? Is he going to let them come to us? We'll find out. But for me, I think the biggest thing, the front three and the back four pretty much writes out for me. It's that midfield. We need a balanced midfield. We saw it against Norwich. I've described it as like a seesaw. 1 minute it was too much attack, and the next minute it was too much defence. There was never a nice balance until the 60th minute when Fabinho came on. That balance was restored to the game. Like, he's like the tethering point in between either side, isn't he? And for me, we need to get that balance right tomorrow, because if Burnley, we know what they're like. They're going to either take it on a counter or a set piece, or if our midfield seems slightly like our weak point, they're going to go at our midfield and they're going to hold the game there. They're going to try and retrieve the ball there. If we can't balance that midfield, that's where they're going to make the recoveries, and that's where they're going to make the break. And then we're on the catch-up then. We're on the defence constantly. We're chasing them. But if we hold that midfield, our back four are pinging balls left, right and centre. Our front three are doing what they're doing. Yeah. I'm not concerned. But if that midfield isn't tight, that's going to be a problem tomorrow for me. That's the only thing I'm not worried about, but it's the only thing that I can think of that I go, that's kind of like a little chip, where they might just sit there and nick away at it until it's not right. And I don't really know what the answer is for the midfield, to be honest, because if it's not going to be Fabinho,
do you reckon Milner go in the holding role?
It brings me on to the point of lineup. So because of Burnley play long balls, Jordan Henderson's quite good in the air.
That's why I want Hendo.
And I tweeted before thinking that maybe Henderson should start because he's a big lad, he's good in the air. Maybe to start him and not play Thiago tomorrow. O'Connor, because of his extra height and you need that someone who's going to screen.
Yeah.
Van Dijk and
maybe.
And Matip. You don't want balls them have to always deal with balls.
No.
Fabinho gives you that screen in front of. So maybe Chuck and Hendo.
Well, do you know what? It could work because of the fact we're at Anfield, the fans are back, and you know the love for Henderson and contract talks and stuff like that, and him being on the pitch would, raise the fans and stuff. You could go Hendo. Keita, I think, has got to start. He's got to get a run of games. He just has to get a run of games before he gets injured again. So Keita, Henderson. The question is, do you play Milner or do you give Ox another chance, especially at Anfield? I was surprised he played away from home. I thought he's more of a home player. What do you do? Do you play Milner or Ox? I think that's the back five and the back five. We all know the back five. The front three. The only difference in the front three is do you play Bobby or do you play Jota?
You've asked like 3 questions.
That's like when I'm being pulled over by the police. I answer 15 questions.
Well, before Sophie answers, I was just going to say, like Finn said last time, he felt that we Klopp underestimated Burnley. I think he rested Bobby, Mo, and not to do that again this time. So go ahead, Sophie, answer one of
just to go off minutes before I go back to Dave's point. I don't think Klopp really had a choice last year. Mane, Mo, Bobby, they were on their knees. And he had no choice, knowing that we had to do what we had to do to get top 4. He had no choice really but to rest them a little bit, didn't he? And so I don't agree with him doing that, but I agree with him doing it at the same time. Like I understand his decision back then. I mean, back then I was furious. Now, in hindsight, I get it. But just going on, one of the several questions Dave asked on his little thing that is just on the Hendo front. I know. Realistically, it's probably best to save him for Chelsea. But if he's ready, the first home game with fans in 18 months at Anfield, the captain has to be on the pitch. And for me, especially if you don't have Fabinho in that holding midfield, we know that Hendo can play it. Not as good as Fab, but he can play that role really well. That, for me, then puts a cemented person in the back line right in front of the captain. And it's a nicer position for him to play that holding midfield. It's not as aggressive. He's not running up and down the pitch as much. He can sit back a little bit further, especially if he's got Naby and Thiago in front of him. He's got that freedom to have a little bit more to build that, the minutes up in his legs and build that fitness back up, especially with having Virgil and Matip behind him. Again, it's that comfort, it's like that cushion, isn't it? I think it would be a good game for Hendo to come back to. I mean, he might not stay the whole game, but, he has, for me personally, if he's fit enough to start, he has to start. Take him off. Oh my God, look at the size of that.
What the hell was that?
The hell's that, Sophie?
Keith, what are you doing?
Massive.
What are you doing?
Across the floor, so I just launched the camera and knocked everything over.
It's a quick one on the... The Elliot, and I'm intrigued to see him in chat as well, and everyone on the panel tonight. I was hoping he played against Norwich, obviously given he played against them in the Championship last year. I'd be all up for him possibly starting against Burnley. It'd be a massive ask for him, really, but it wouldn't surprise me if Jurgen Klopp in the next couple of weeks very much threw a Harvey Elliott in. I don't think he'll do it against Burnley. But I think considering how good he is at picking up pockets of space and really driving at teams, him and Naby possibly, and obviously Thiago's very good at that, we know. But in terms of just the pockets of space, I'd love nothing more than come Saturday morning, that team sheet to get released and see Harvey Elliott possibly. It'd be a big, massive ask for him, but he's got to start eventually one week, and I'd love nothing more to see Harvey Elliott. It's a big shout, but I'd love it.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'd love it and stuff. I'm not sure. I think the first 10 games are going to be crucial, especially keeping at Man City. So I think we're still going to see Elliott come off like 10, 15 minutes. I think it'll be a while till he starts a Premiership game, purely because of, we saw how fared well with Nico Williams when he had a bad game.
Even Trent as well.
Yeah.
To be honest,
so I think it's to protect him in that sense. And also the feeling of obviously we need to ensure that we are as close to City as possible. Because, obviously they are, especially if they get Kane, they're the ones, which is very likely. They're the ones
it's all right. We're 3 points ahead of them already, mate. It sounds. Yeah.
What do you think, Dave?
That's a good point there that Finners has put in there. That Chelsea, big game, Chelsea, European champions next week. The likes of Henderson, Thiago do need minutes. So I think, well, obviously Fabinho, I mean, he could play both of them tomorrow. Thiago and Henderson, and maybe just take them off with 20, 25 to go.
Play with that floating cam also, like in front, behind.
Like I said before, I was very rudely interrupted by that daddy long legs. That was the size of my head. It's dead now. Keith can clean it up later. But I definitely think, like as Finn has said there, we do need those key players to have those key minutes in, and I think this is a perfect game for them to come back in. It's not a high intensity game, but it's going to build up those minutes in them, isn't it? And like, I feel like if we're not having Fabinho, because even if Fabinho wants to play, I don't want him to play. Because like I think it was you earlier, Dave, who said his head's not going to be in the right place. His head's going to be, it's going to be up his arse. So I don't want him to play, really. I want him to go and take that time to get his head together and grieve his dad, and then come back when he's right. Because I feel like between Thiago and Hendo, they can cover his role quite well. I'm comfortable with them doing that. And Naby has played really well the last couple of matches that we've seen of him. If he stays fit, he's doing an all right job. But yeah, the midfield is like the topic of conversation here, isn't it? It's everywhere else on the starting lineup, but we all agree who's going to be playing. That midfield is the pivotal point in it. So
going off that, let's each give our starting lineup. We'll start with you, Jack. What's your lineup?
Ali in goal, Trent, Van Dijk, Matip, Kostas, Milner, Henderson, and Naby. Yeah. And then I'd go personally with Salah, Jota, and Mane. Yeah.
Dave?
Oh, Jackie boy. Okay, going to go Allison and Wonderland. I'm going to go Simicus, VVD, Matip, Trent. We all know that has to be the team, really, don't we? The back four, anyway. Midfield is the big one for me. Kate has got to start. He's just got to get a run of games. He needs games under his belt. He will play tomorrow, Kate, absolutely. Fabinho looks like he's out, so I would play Henderson. As you said, he's club captain at home, first home game, full crowd. Hendo, Kate, and I think Milner will play. I don't think he'll risk too much in midfield with the likes of Ox and Thiago. And then up front, I actually would switch it up. I play Bobby, Mane, and Salah. Because we're at home, Bobby looks happy, and Jota's a great impact sub for last 20.
Safe?
There are two players that I would swap out from Dave's. I think mine's the same as yours, Jack. So, same back line. We know the back five. It's staying the same. Hendo, Thiago, and Keita for me. Front three would be Mane, Salah, and Jota. The reason I'd put Jota in is because, as I said on Doug's before, Jota is very, very quick. He doesn't track back as defensively as Bobby and Salah do. So he sits back more on the halfway line and waits till that counts. And if we've got a low block that we need to try and run through before they set up the banks, he's going to do it. He sees the ball in the net and he's clinical. He's very, very good. Bobby is brilliant as well. However, as Dave said about Jota, I think Bobby has a bigger impact coming off the bench than Jota does. Because I think by the time it gets to 60 minutes or so, other teams pick up on what Kostas and Jota are doing. They pick up on their skills, their link up, and they start to block them out. Especially a team like Burnley will block them out around the 45, 50-minute mark, I think. You bring Bobby on then, who can make those runs, the chemistry with the other two, can lay the ball off to them, can sit back deep, can track, can hold the ball. That switches up the field of play completely for me. it takes the emphasis off the midfield at a time where the midfield will have done a lot of the work and will need a little bit of a reprieve. So that's why I bring Bobby on as a sub rather than starting him.
Interesting. Yeah, my team's Alice, same back line and keeper. Midfield is Henderson, Keita, and I don't think Thiago's going to be fully ready, so that's why I'm going to go Milner. Up top, I wouldn't have Jota starting because I think Bobby's got a good record against Burnley. I think he scored like 5. He's involved like at least 6 goals in his previous games with Burnley.
You're on the same team as me, then, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think Bobby's. Yeah, I think Bobby's going to be crucial for his abilities at corners, headers away. I think having an extra tall man against Burnley wouldn't hurt a bit. And I think Joe will come on and cause problems in the second half. Just going on some of the comments here, the COP Council says Hendo, Naby, and Thiago is my midfield. If Fabinho was available, it would have been him in for Hendo. Chris Welsh basically said same team as Norwich. He's getting Keita ready for his man of the match. He played 8 minutes again. Obviously, Finn says Ali, Costa, BVD, Matic, Thiago, Trent, Hendo, Keita, Jota, Bobby Moe. Chris Welsh is saying like he's going for 4-0 prediction. Going on to predictions.
Is he froze?
Oh, no.
Oh, he's looking for the button. Well, holy, seriously, that was like a dial-up.
I thought my computer froze. I was like, oh no.
I was like, let's take over that and be like, predictions, boys.
Predictions. So we'll start with you then. What's your prediction?
Who are we going with? Dave.
3-0. Oh, 3-0. Salah brace and Mane to get his first goal of the season. Salah's on form. Salah, the king of Egypt, on form. He only needs 2 goals to get 100 Premier League goals. I think he might get it tomorrow with 2.
Yeah. I'm going to go 5-0. I went 4-0 last week and it was very close. So I'm going to go 5-0. Hopefully we get a 4-0. But yeah, I think the crowd will play a massive impact. So I'm hoping we get a nice early goal and 5-0. I'd love a 5-0. So yeah, being positive.
I would love that. Would love that. I've gone for a cautious 2-0. I'm very happy to be wrong. I'm very happy for it to be a 5-0, a 6-0, a 10-0, a 145-0. I'm happy for whatever, as long as it's a win. But
you're happy if it's 1-0. Let's be fair.
Yeah, I'll take a 1-0 as well. Yeah.
No, I think if we won a 1-0, I'd be happy with that. But a 1-0 makes me nervous because a 1-0 is very easily turned into a draw like that. You get a 2-0 lead. It gives you that buffer zone. It gives you that little cover of like security, doesn't it? So I'm going for a 2-0, but I'd be quite happy for anything, a win.
Yeah.
Don't care if it's a clean sheet or not. I just want to win.
It's about the 3 points. It's about the 3 points. Yeah. That's all it's about.
Yeah, I've gone for a 3-0 at the same as one last week. I just feel that I put Mane at 2, and I said Salah at the other one. Doug's gone here for a 2-1. I hope they don't score. I want a clean sheet.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that'd be a tense game if they score.
Yeah.
Just before we go into trivia, I just want to ask you boys a question. So, and everyone a question. So,
you boys then, didn't you? and girl, a woman. Thank you.
So,
I look like one of the lads, but I am actually not a boy.
so my question is this:
are you sure?
Yeah. So my question is this. So I heard what these guys said before. I didn't say nothing then earlier on. We were talking about squad depth. Now, I can't remember who else it was. I think there was some guy reported, someone posted the other day. They put a lineup of all our squad.
I'm just going to take him out. I'm just going to take him out before he mentions squad depth anymore.
And basically, the key thing here is that when we talk about squad depth, we are going in, obviously, into the next season, the season actually now, with, okay, so if we saw last season, if one of Jota, Salah, and Mane get injured, realistically, Bobby at the most in his best season he's ever had, scored 15 goals. Majority of times he's got 9. So if one of them has an off day, and it is possible when we saw Madrid when all 4 of them struggled and really didn't score. Do we have enough in the bank if we were to keep it with what we've got straight ready right now in terms of forward lines if one of them got injured? Compare that to what, say, like other clubs have. Do you not have enough in the bank? And then midfield, yes, I agree with you the fact that Naby's played well, but again, we are going in saying that we're relying heavily on Keita's fitness, Ox's fitness. Jones is untested really still, and still Elliott's really untested. So we see as well, Thiago again has had his injury problems in the past. Hender's very injury prone. Is there a lot to say there, for midfield and a forward line that we have enough, especially when we consider midfield. Ginny played every game last year.
Right.
Keita barely played most of the time. For him to then for us to then say he's going to be the new Ginny in terms of coming in, that's a big ask. Not necessarily. It's been rational in terms of think about it. Do we still need Ginny to be replaced? And
that is the longest question I've ever heard in my fucking life.
Let me say this before, because I'm just going to say what
I've heard you, Sophie. I'm asking them to.
I'm going to have to answer this now because you really annoyed. Well, you've not annoyed me, but we're going to have our first fight. Okay, Mum and Dad are going to fight now. Right? No, our squad depth up front is not enough. We all know it's not enough. We know that if 1 or 2 of them get injured, then it's not enough. That's not what. But this is what's annoying me now with this conversation that goes round and round, merry-go-round every single time. I want to get off. I'm bored of it. Yes, we need more players. However, the fact of the matter doesn't change. We have no quota left for international foreign players. We have to get rid of players in order to get new players. And at the minute, we can sit here and we can hypothesize about who we'd want and who we get rid of and what we do and do we need someone else and X, Y, Z. We can do that till the cows come home. But it doesn't change the fact that unless those 3 players, and you know exactly which players I'm on about, go somewhere else, this topic of conversation is futile. Because nothing can change unless we sell those players.
Okay, we're going on the lines of that.
I haven't finished. Shut your face. So yes, we need someone else in that front lineup. Yes, we do, and we need someone else in the midfield. However, unless you want to pay 50 million for Ben White, you want to pay extortionate amounts of money for an English player who's not going to be the quality we want, and waste money just to say you've got someone in a squad. I'd rather personally us not buy anyone, like Dave said, and bring someone in this late just for the sake of having a number in the squad who's going to eat up more wage bill, who's going to eat up more resources, who's not going to play and isn't going to add anything to the squad and possibly disrupt the balance we've got. And it's money we don't have.
Yeah.
Wait, sell the players we've got to sell and get someone who's right when the time is right. But for me, having this conversation every single time is pointless because we know what the issues are. We know what the gaps are. We know where we need to replace players. But nothing can happen because our hands are tied at the minute. There's nothing we can do.
So, who else, Jack? Answer this. So going along that lines then, the players we have to sell, should not be an argument now in terms of Shaq and Origi, who are very hard to get rid of, to just take last summer, we rejected 40 million, 12 million for Shaqiri last summer. So isn't there an argument now just to say, look, they barely played anyhow in the first place, Shaq and Origi. Most of last season, they were in the Klopp basement. So just cut losses, and just get rid of them to get people in. Because there's no point, if they do stay, they're not going to contribute again anything this season.
Yeah, it's difficult, mate, isn't it? As Sophie's alluded to, and Dave, and every Liverpool fan. Where Liverpool progression-wise, we're not going to have money that City and Chelsea have or a PSG. And there's not that many high-profile or quality attackers in world football that you identify and go, right, yeah, I want you. And any player that's coming into Liverpool, they know they're not going to get ahead of Salah, Mane, Firmino, and Jota. unless they're quite arrogant in terms of and they back their ability. And then it's difficult. Probably in about 3, 4, 5 years' time, when those forward three lads have their form's quite deteriorated, or their peak has very much gone past their peak. It's difficult. Moving players out is not as easy as all those fans would like to see. Because if you're looking at Origi, he's on quite decent money at Liverpool, and don't get me wrong, he wants to lead the line for Liverpool, but himself probably knows he's not of the quality of a Jota or Salah, sadly. And the high points of him selling would have been the Champions League final. I think, and if Bournemouth were in the Premier League, you would have bought him. But ideally, yes, we do need to replace Gino and Wijnaldum, but there's not that many. And I think for Saul, I think he's just getting bigged up by Atletico Madrid or his agents, really. I can't envision Liverpool going in for him. It'd be great if Liverpool signed him. He's a very good midfielder. But I think Jurgen Klopp has shown when he went and got Ali and Van Dijk, he's willing to wait for the right player. And we're not like City, who can throw 60, 70 million pounds at a player. It would be great if we could, but financial sense, it doesn't make sense. And the whole point of moving into that new Kirby facility and a brand new Kirby Academy is it's to develop young talent. And there's no better coach in world football than Jurgen Klopp than bringing through players like Curtis Jones. He's going to have a massive impact in the next 3 to 4 years' time. If he can develop like Trent did, I tell you, we brought through Trent through the academy, and he saved us, 50, 80, 100 million on possibly one of the world's best right backs. So some areas can be dealt with by spending money, like Van Dijk and Alisson, great, if they're available. But not every position can be bought and by throwing 100-odd million at them. Because I personally, as good as striker Lukaku is, I don't think he's going to have the impact everyone's going to expect him to have. The City, it's great. Who would you like to bring in? And do you reckon would be happy to sit on the bench? Because I don't think many attackers would be happy to sit on the bench.
Sit on the bench. What the one thing I've got frustration with that argument is that many other big teams have a variety of different players who a big squad, and we talk about the big squad.
Is that City and Chelsea, mate, or
maybe Man United got these 5 or 6 forwards now, basically. Bayern, we've got 5 forwards.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's nobody there spending money left.
Bayern haven't spent money.
And centre. We do not have that money. Even Jurgen Klopp came out in his interview recently and said he has no idea how United have got this money. He's interested to know where it's come from. He's interested. We all know how City and Chelsea are doing it. They're breaking and bending FFP rules till, like it's rubber bands. They're like, woohoo with them. We know what they're doing, and they're getting away with it because they're just throwing money at the problem. Okay? They will eventually end up like Barcelona and Real Madrid are right now. They will end up in the black. They will end up in the red because they'll fuck themselves over. That time will come for them, and I will laugh. But for the clubs like United, where they've got the money from, maybe they've been waiting. The way, as Jack alluded to, Jurgen Klopp, and he's willing to wait for the right player. Maybe that's what Ole's done. He's waited for Sancho. He's waited for Varane, and they've put that money aside for them. However they've done it, whether they've broke FFP rules or what, I don't know either. Maybe they've done it logistically and properly, and that's how they've got them. But Liverpool, we do not have that money available. And that is the end of it. And Jack, hats off to you. You answered that absolutely flawlessly.
But Chelsea and United are playing catch up, aren't they? Like on City and Liverpool. Yeah, we got like 90 plus points total. Don't get me wrong. More for improving Liverpool squad, and I've done videos last couple of days. Liverpool's depth is not. If we can improve Shaqiri and Origi, sounds, but there's not that many players. Yes, there are on the market, but yeah. No club is going to sell to Liverpool in terms of this late in the transfer window. But I'd love it if we did sign him. But you can't compete with City. And I know Liverpool make lots of money and we all buy these shirts and go to game and they make multi-millions. But it's at what cost do you want to do that? Does it mean more expensive tickets? Obviously, price and tickets and everything. But when the point in time, if Haaland was available and Liverpool needed a striker, I'm pretty sure Jurgen Klopp would go out and buy him within a heartbeat. And if he wanted to come to the club, then if a player is available, we will get them, mate. The best point was Andy Robbo, even myself. Every single Liverpool fan was like, "Why are we buying a whole left back? Look at him now." Like, price does not determine the quality of a player. So, yeah,
it doesn't.
Liverpool, look, this is the thing with Liverpool's transfer committee. They don't just buy players willy-nilly, some guy they see training on the pitch. It takes a year or 18 months to get a player. They have a committee there with Barry Hunter, Fallows, Dave Fallows. They've got like Michael Edwards at the head of those two. They're the two head scouts. They're European scouts.
Yeah.
So those two guys are told to go out and get a certain type of player, get his blood sample, get his DNA. That's what those guys do. They're not even looking at like what he looks like on YouTube. This is like top of the range stuff. And Liverpool won the first teams in Europe, I think, in the last 10 years to do this, where they look at everything. They look at medical history. They look at who he's going out to nightclubs with. It's everything's covered basically on every player, because if he fits all these little algorithms, only then will they be interested in even getting them. But as I said earlier, we've only got a week, 10 days left, 11 days left in the transfer window. For Liverpool to bring in somebody, unless there's a major injury, I think Klopp's. Look at him; he looks happy, he looks happy with the group he's got, and he hates disrupting it. They're like his sons. He hates, it's like a party of a group. And if you bring in somebody that could potentially, just tip the balance this way or that way, either great for us or actually bad for us, is it worth taking the risk? Unless there's an injury in the next 11 days.
Klopp loves it, doesn't he, Dave? Yeah, he absolutely loves the challenge, doesn't he? He's like, right, can I get the best out of these players? Like he loves nothing more than to just sit down there every single week and develop Curtis Jones, develop Trent, even though he was probably
Elliot and Jones are going to have a bigger. Jones are going to have a bigger season this year, and he's probably looking at them saying, "Time for you boys to step up now. Let's go."
Yeah.
And do you know what? This is what the one thing that does annoy me as a fan base as a whole is there are fans out there, and they're well within their right to feel this way, but they want Liverpool to make a big signing every window, all the time. And as both of you, Dave and Jack, have perfectly put it, it's not worth risk tipping that balance. Is it worth the risk just to please people saying, "I've bought someone"? Because the more you just buy someone, if they don't fit every box, like Dave said, every box is ticked and they are perfect Liverpool model, what is the point? You're adding to the wage bill, you're adding to the... And then the problem, like Jack said, ticket prices go up, share prices go up even more. Everything costs more and you end up like City. And I don't want my club to be that club that literally goes, my back four isn't working, let's throw 200 million on 2 new centre-backs. I don't want that. I would rather Liverpool invest smartly. Yeah, it'll take a little bit longer, but I'd rather do it better, because I know when the Virgil thing came around, and there was rumours of Virgil, it got shut down all the time because Southampton kicked off, Liverpool apologised, and were like, we're not interested in him. They still were. And I remember being heartbroken and being like, oh, I really wanted him though. I think he's going to be great. And then we got smacked with, oh, we've signed Virgil van Dijk at Christmas. And I was like, happy days. I'd rather wait. And I think, as Dave said, the team looks good. Klopp looks happy. The squad look happy. And I'm not being funny, but apart from the addition of 3 players, this is the same team, the same squad that had City and had Pep Guardiola turn around saying, this is the one team I hate to play. This was European giants saying, I don't want to draw Liverpool in the group stages. I don't want to play Liverpool. They were frightened of us. And all we've done is we've lost Gini, but we've added 3 quality players into the mix. Thiago and Jota didn't get embedded last season. They didn't get that time. So they're like fresh signings. I know they're not, and I'll probably get slaughtered saying, but they're not fresh signings, aren't they? They basically are. Then you've got Canate on top of it. Then you've got the likes of Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones. It's a good squad. And if we don't add any more to it now, what will be, will be. You can't change what the club have decided to do.
And there's a lot of free transfers next season as well. There's a lot of very talented free transfers. And the list goes on. You probably already know the names anyway, but I'm excited. The Norwich, bring it back to the Burnley game, mate. I can't wait. Honestly, a couple of hours anyway.
Going, baby.
Yeah, 14 more hours, and then we'll be in kick-off time now, anyway. So, but yeah.
Oh, happy days. But right, should we move on then? Wahomey regrets asking that question.
No, I don't. I heard everything your point, but I still disagree. But I heard all your points.
Fine. You can disagree with me. We always disagree.
Yeah,
that's the beauty of football, and everyone has different opinions, and that's why we love football anyway. So,
So true time.
Just quickly, me and Wahomey have very, very different opinions on how Liverpool should run their transfer window and their policy. But I respect his decision and opinion about it. I think it's absolute shite. But I still
shite too, you know. That's the view of it. That's the view of it, you know.
Come on then, let's do trivia. Let's end on a good note since me and Wahomey have had a fight.
Nah, I wouldn't class that as a fight.
No, it's normally a fight when Steve steps in and goes, "Whoa, mum and dad are fighting. Mum and dad are fighting." Speaking of which, I did see a comment earlier saying it's Yanks are back without the Yanks. I just want to clarify to anyone who's watching, the boys will be back. They've just got a lot of personal things going on at the minute. They're very busy, weddings and moving. So they will be back. Hopefully, we're hoping after the Chelsea game, we'll have the full team back. But for now, you're just stuck with the two Brits.
Yeah, right. So we're back.
Trivia.
What's the first trivia?
Right, okay. If you could be one fictional character, who would you pick? This can be movie, book, TV, anything.
Harry Potter.
Oh.
I don't know. Or like someone in Harry Potter, like was like being a wizard. Imagine going to Hogwarts, mate. Like that'd be amazing. Could have said Superman and being very cliche. Being about 6 foot, very good, very good looking. It'd be fantastic. But I'd much rather be a wizard.
Jesus, Jack, he's going to need plenty of magic for that one.
Yeah, sadly.
Jack was definitely that kid that got really annoyed on his 13th birthday when he didn't get a letter to Hogwarts.
Come on, guys. I was like, Mum, where's my letter? I had my broomstick and my cloak ready and everything.
Dumbledore's happy.
It's time for the wizard.
Dumbledore's happy there, look.
Yeah, I've run out a couple of brick walls in my time as well, so hopefully to get through. I'll be Dumbledore. That'll be decent.
You know what? I'll tell you a quick story. When Harry Potter came out first, Doug won't like this. My wife was sort of into it, had read the books, and she says, let's go to cinema and see this Harry Potter thing. And I thought being wizards and stuff would be quite good. So we're sitting down, eating the popcorn. Comes on 20 minutes later, I went like this. What a load of bollocks. Fuck the popcorn behind me. I walked out. This shit. Walked out. Couldn't last 20 minutes. Rubbish. Sorry, Doug.
Wahomey?
What was the question again? So I
fictional character.
Wow, I disagree with your transfer policy and you're blank.
No. I was reading the comments.
Wow.
What did you say? I was reading the comments. What did you say?
If you could be one fictional character, it can be book, TV, film, whoever. Who would you be?
A fictional character. Because I was a big fan of Lord of the Rings, I'd have to be Aragorn.
Oh, Aragorn, my son. Yeah.
Even Legolas. Living a 3,000 plus years. Imagine that.
Yeah.
3,000 years of edge winning trophies and threads.
I was really good at the sword. Well, one like big, massive sword or something good at that.
Yeah.
Mine would be, I used to love Star Wars as a kid. Darth Vader. Luke, my son. That was absolutely brilliant. Darth Vader was the ultimate in darkness, wasn't he? Darth Vader.
Wouldn't you like to be Han Solo, Dave? Just
Han Solo? No,
Han Solo was
I'll tell you a joke about Han Solo one day, but not tonight.
Right, guys, if anyone in the chat has any trivia questions, whether it's football related or just general questions, please ask us and we will answer during the stream. I would actually see mine's dead boring now in comparison to yours because I just went for Jack Sparrow. Like I'd be Jack Sparrow because like he was just so sarcastic, so witty. He didn't care about anything, and everything was just a joke to him. And I could just imagine walking like, "Where's the rum? Well, where's the rum gone?" That I'd just be Jack Sparrow. Like plus, I did face morph myself into Jack Sparrow, and I was like, "Oh my god, I love it!" But yeah, I would be him.
Going across the Caribbean anyway in a ship. That'd be decent. That.
Oh yeah, going round and just be like, "I've got a jar of death." Yeah, love it. Just kidnapping people and being like, "Give me, yeah, great, sound, love it."
I got one. If you could have one Liverpool player live with you for a week, who would it be?
We know mine.
Oh,
and why? Who do you think? And why?
Liverpool player
for a
week. Live with you for a week.
Yeah.
Mo Salah, the king of Egypt.
Robbo. I don't know. His banter would be absolutely amazing. I'd love to say Trent, but it should just be like having one of my mates around Scouts. So yeah, I got a Glasgow flyer. So yeah, I go Andy Robbo, just drinking iron brew every single night. So yeah, it'd be a good laugh, Andy Robbo. Yeah, I think he's a joker, but from the outside looking in. But yeah, you'd have a good crack with him.
I'll give you all one guess.
Van Dijk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if I had to go off personality wise, I'd go with Jack and I'd take Robbo because I just think you'd have an absolute scream, like the biscuit game, the pie game. Like
Milner as well. Milner you'd have fun with. Milner's funny as well.
Yeah, but I think I'd rather go for Robbo because then he's got a Scottish accent and I'm just obsessed with it. So I would. I'd go for Robbo, but I think if you gave me the option, I would definitely. I'm ignoring Dave. I'd definitely go for Virgil, just so I could stare at him for a week and be like.
Finna's Hendo. I think for me, it was Allison. It's only baptized by him.
Yeah. Just see what hair products he uses as well.
Yeah.
Great hair.
Did you see the tweet I did to Allison about a month ago when he was in the Copa America? I had him made up as the Bee Gees. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that, Sophie?
No, you'll have to send it to me in a bit.
No, Allison replied to it.
No, you'll have to send me. I haven't seen it.
Allison replied to the tweet.
Well,
that's right.
Yeah. I had him dressed up as the lead singer of the Bee Gees, and I said, Allison, grow that moustache back. And I had him with the face, the face app. I had him singing, staying alive. And then Allison replies back with the funny emojis. He's obviously watching it in the Copa America. It's so funny.
Flat out. Right, just going into the chat quickly. So, Chris Welsh said that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would be Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
Or Mo Flanders from The Simpsons.
Finn has said that Liverpool player he'd have Hendo. What a lad. Doug said he'd have Ben Davies, so he knows what he looks like. Chris would have Milner. I'm ignoring that comment. Absolutely not. No, he said he'd have Virgil. Can't. I'm having him. Back off. I'll fight you for him. Doug asked a question before we move on to another trivia. What is your guys' favourite ice cream flavour?
Ben and Jerry's cookie dough. I know it's boring and probably the most original thing.
Boring?
Right
here, mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine.
Fucking boring. Just simple vanilla ice cream. Simple stuff. You know what I mean? Simple.
No.
Do you know what I like?
Vanilla.
Do you know what choc ice? Do you? You know what choc ice?
Oh yeah, I love chocolate.
Chris.
The
Simple.
world's worst ice cream possible.
Bang.
Chocolate. Vile.
That or a brunch. That's it.
Nah. A choc ice was that thing that your mum put in the back of the freezer, and when the Mr. Whippy came round, you'd be like, "Mum, can I have an ice cream?" She's like, "No, there's a choc ice in the freezer," and you'd be like scraping off the frozen bit.
Hold on, I was a kid in the 70s. That's the difference. You know
but
what I
no
mean?
one wanted a choc ice. Everyone wanted a 99er with sauce and sherbet. No one wanted a feckin' choc ice.
I love chocolate.
Mine's mint choc chip ice cream is the elite ice cream.
It's not
Love
bad.
it.
Not bad.
Love mint choc chip, but like not like the Carte d'Or one. You know, it's like a chocolate sauce sort of it. I mean,
You mean
like
the green one?
the
the
good
green
old fashioned green mint
nice.
ice cream.
The green one.
Chocolate. Yeah, that one.
Always keep quiet here.
Finn,
I'm so hungry now.
Mine's strawberry ice cream. Like I'm Chris Welsh, strawberry ice cream.
Oh no, Doug, not Doug. I've just read Doug's comments and then said Doug. I didn't mean that. Wahomie, what's your ice cream?
Strawberry, like Chris.
I don't mind strawberry, but it's got to be the right type. Like
the right strawberry. If it's got like slight bits in, like it's like nice.
No.
Yeah.
No. Anything with, do you know what? Right, really funny about anything with bits of like pulp. You know, yogurt with like fruity bits.
Oh. No.
Oh, it makes me like the texture of like drinking orange juice with pulp. Why? I don't want to drink bits of flakes of orange. Like, I don't want the remains of it. Oh.
Yeah, Doug said, yeah. I don't understand, Robbo, Doug.
Me and Dave.
Next.
Move on.
I don't understand, Robbo, Doug. Got a couple of Geordies. I know it'd be no one listening to the conversation probably wouldn't understand me and Robbo having a convo. It was like, what are you saying? But,
right there.
Right. Okay. Last one from me. You said you had another one as well, didn't you?
No, that's one more. That's it.
Okay. So last one then. What's one film opinion that you get a lot of negative backlash from when you say it?
What is it? The Fast and Furious franchise is massively overrated.
I'd agree with that.
I believe
it.
I've never watched Harry Potter, any of them.
You don't want to. You don't want to do it.
I've never watched any of them. Yeah, so people criticize me for never watching it.
One for me is the 80s movies are the best movies ever made. The 80s, the decade of the 80s are the best movies ever made. By far. And everybody goes, no, they're crap. I've looked back at them. They're rubbish. It's like everything. Everything's taken from 70s and 80s, obviously brought forward. Like some Michael Jackson and all, everybody who's dancing on stages and stuff. No one did it before, you know, that type of way. So they all take the best bits out of everything. The likes of the Goonies, the Lost Boys. I mean, they're fucking amazing.
Classics. So many great films.
Classics.
Yeah.
Right. Here goes the opinion that I always get so much stick for when I say it. Lord of the Rings is boring as shite.
I love Lord of the Rings. I grew up on Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and Harry Potter.
Look, the King of the Ring. Look. King.
I'll let you watch that,
all that effort to put a
Brilliant.
ring in the fire. Like, it's too much faff. They make it harder than it needs to be. Why do I need to sit there for 3 hours watching Frodo and Bilbo Baggins trudge it through the fucking forest to go and eventually put a ring and go, blink? Like, why is it going to take 3 hours? Could you not do that in 120 minutes? Why has it got to be 3 hours?
Sauron's very powerful, though.
Look who's behind you, Sophie.
So you've got Lord of the Rings 1, where they get rid, and then you've got another one, like, then another one, then you've got The Hobbit, and I'm going, oh my God, like,
look who's behind you.
Hello, Bobby. Hello. But Keith made me watch The Hobbit, the extended version, and about 4 times, near fell asleep, and I was like, I can't watch this. This is shite.
I'm not a big fan of The Hobbit.
Hobbit.
Yeah.
The only good part of Lord of the Rings is when they're having that big battle, and hello, baby. Hello. And don't wind him up, he'll start barking. Is when he goes, I don't even know who it is, and he goes, I've got one, and Legolas goes 18, 90, and starts reeling off the number of how many he's shot. That's the only part probably because it was Orlando Bloom.
Well, I'll tell you what you should do. You should read the books.
No.
Yeah, the books are really good.
The books are even better than the film.
There's thing with most books in it. Like it's some great adaptations in it. Like even Harry Potter, like there's so many bits you've missed out in the books. But it'd be interesting to see the new Amazon series, whether that is the most expensive TV show series ever made.
I hope they don't make it. I hope they don't make it. What a waste of
No,
time.
No, the new Amazon series, the new Lord of the Rings one. Well, I don't think they're calling it Lord of the Rings, but being set in like the Second Age. But,
okay.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how
I hate
good it
remakes.
is.
I hate remakes. That's another pet hate of mine. Bloody remakes. Why are you remaking? Can't remake classics. Can't do it. Just can't be done.
And on that note, I think it's a good place to end before we go on another tangent.
Yes. So it's been good having you boys on.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for letting me come on. Absolutely, fully enjoyed it. And fingers crossed we can get all 3 points on Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, tomorrow. I'm saying it like Saturday's next week, but tomorrow morning. But yeah, cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Stay safe.
Right, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe.
Yeah, smash that button.
Back tomorrow or probably Sunday for our post-match. But yeah, thank you all for watching.
Cheers, guys.